ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Ross and Wizzy's Fan Fiction Power Hour, Winky Face. I'm your host, Ross Pitt, Shark Hunter. Haven't said the Shark Hunter bit in the past few episodes. I don't know if you guys noticed. The other person with me, as always, but if you don't listen to the podcast all that much, you might not know. I'm Wizzy Puff. Say hello, Wizzy. How you doing?
Hello.
I said say hello, Wizzy.
Hello, Wizzy.
Thank you, God.
If I were a cleverer person, I would have done that too.
Wait, why would you be joining us for the first time? That wouldn't make sense. It's Sunlight Sliders Part 5, baby. Yeah, that's right. We're getting back into the swing of things. And we're reading Sunlight Sliders by Amber Spark. I swear that name was different before.
Right? The name does not sound familiar.
Ah, well. Went to their blog post and found something.
Oh, what happened?
Which might make sense. Well, it says, looking for some help with top-bottom surgery, so perhaps that has something to do with it.
Ooh.
All right, so cool.
Cool. Congratulations to Amber Spark. But also I realized that each chapter is written by a different person, right? So this is like a group of people?
Yep. I assume that Amber Spark oversees all of it, but I suppose this chapter 13 here that we are going to be reading today, we might get through a few of these. We might just get through one of these. Depends on how quirky we are. Chapter 13 here is by KalenNighteyes.
Should I get started?
Wait, no, we should recap the previous chapters.
Oh, correct.
So previously on Sunlight Sliders, Twilight and Sunset had launched into a sort of other, well, the entire thing is that they're going into different multiverses and stuff, but they went into this one universe where they met with a different, was it a different Twilight or a different Sunset? It was a different Twilight.
Was it a different Twilight, or was it a hypnotized Twilight?
No, it was a different Twilight.
Okay.
Because there was like this whole sort of a war zone type sort of thing. And this Twilight was, I think, a human Twilight, maybe? And she was all like, you two. As she explained that tons of Twilights and tons of Sunsets go into different dimensions. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Oh.
And
sorry.
Yeah, I only just remembered this part.
I forgot about that until you were recapping. Thank you for recapping.
You're welcome. And I can't remember what happens after. Maybe it's just because I just saw Spider-Verse.
Well, I just remembered that they went into a big old castle full of food, and then Twilight was like, ooh, food, and then ate it. And then she like got hypnotized into flirting with Sunset.
I don't believe it was a castle.
It was something.
I believe it was just a hotel room.
Oh, I could be wrong. My memory's not the greatest.
Other Twilight Sparkle from the other dimension was all like, yeah, Twilight and Sunset almost always end up together. Because I don't know if you know this, but Sunlight Sliders is a bit of a ship fic.
Oh.
And then, yeah, they did the thing that you said they do. Or, yeah, they went to the other dimension, which was in a hotel room. And this hotel room it has some food that Twilight ate. And then Twilight got all up into Sunset Shimmer's personal business. And then they slept together.
Wait, what?
So they didn't bone or anything, but they slept in the same bed together. Separated by pillows, I believe.
That is not my ship.
And then they woke up and said, let's go get something to eat before we, hop into another dimension. And they bumped into Rainbow Dash and Applejack, who were staying at the hotel as well. And I believe it was a love hotel, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that explains why it was Rainbow and Apple.
That would be it, I believe. They're all going to go get food together.
And now we start. Rainbow and Applejack sat there, eyes wide and mouths agape in shock as Sunset and Twilight recounted their journey with the talisman. After a moment, their plates of pancakes arrived, which Sunset and Twilight began to eat almost immediately. It felt like it had been forever since they had eaten anything, and the pancakes with the warm syrup tasted so good. You know, I've never really done pancakes any other time than breakfast, but I have to admit, they're just as good at lunch, Twilight said as she munched away.
Have I shown you the Twilight Sparkle pancake meme?
I don't believe so.
I gotta show you at some point.
I remember you talking about Celestia cake?
This is that meme, but funny.
Nice. As they ate, Sunset glanced up at Rainbow and Applejack, who still hadn't started on their food.
Look, I know that's a lot to take in, but you guys asked for the whole story. It may not have been every detail, but it was close enough. Is that my Sunset? That sound right?
Sounds about right. Applejack's mouth closed as she gave her head a small shake. Right, of course. That sounds like what a humdinger of an adventure y'all have been taking.
I mean, that sounds so crazy, but so awesome at the same time. You're traveling to a bunch of alternate universes, meeting yourselves, different versions of all of us, and you're doing it with someone you care about?
Rainbow exclaimed as she snapped out of her own stupor and began eating. Twilight and Sunset looked at one another with a smile.
Yeah, I guess it is pretty awesome,
Twilight said, twirling a lock of her hair in her finger.
Spending this time with Sunset has been nice.
Rainbow nudged Applejack with her elbow and chuckled.
I don't think they've crossed into relationship territory yet.
That was a nice laugh. Sunset coughed as she heard Rainbow say this. But as she was about to speak, a portal opened up near them. Out of the portal stepped a rather tall woman dressed in black. She had her jet black hair slicked back and tied into a high ponytail, and she was wearing what looked like sunglasses, faintly glowing with an odd red light. Applejack and Rainbow... Why does it keep saying Applejack and Rainbow and not Rainbow Dash?
Because
when I hear, Applejack, I expect and Rainbow Dash, right? Am I crazy?
I think you're crazy, actually.
Huh.
That's, sure, they would say that often, I suppose, but it's not something that happens all the time.
I guess it's just because they shorten it to Rainbow instead of Rainbow Dash. I'd expect them to at least shorten it to Apple instead of Applejack.
Yeah, but that never happens. Rainbow gets shortened all the time. Applejack never really does.
Well,
Unless
I guess
it's
because
AJ.
there's so many apples and not many rainbows.
True.
Applejack and Rainbow looked at the oddly dressed woman, then looked to Twilight and Sunset.
Friend of yours?
Rainbow asked. Twilight and Sunset turned at this point to look at the woman. Whoever she was, she had a somewhat intimidating air about her. She wasn't something they'd encountered yet, but they both knew it probably wasn't good.
Twilight Sparkle and Sunset Shimmer.
That was so good.
You violated the laws of multiversal travel. You are hereby required to come with me for summary judgment and punishment.
This is one of my favorite voices of yours. I love it.
I'm really liking it too, actually.
Sunset looked over to Twilight, whose eyes were wide in what could only be described as horror. With a sigh, Sunset stood up and squared off against the person.
What kind of punishment are you talking about? Death.
Sunset narrowed her eyes.
We're just trying to get home. We don't mean to keep popping up in random places. We just can't seem to find the right place. Give us a chance. Unacceptable. You've been causing disruptions in several other worlds. These disruptions will have profound effects on the futures of those universes. You will comply or I will make you comply.
The woman said.
Sunset, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for anything like this to happen.
Twilight said as a tear fell down her cheek.
Aww.
Sunset clenched her fists as she continued to stare down the woman.
Who are you? Who do you work for? My name isn't important, but...
Well, if it isn't important, then what is it?
Well, if you must know, it's Aeon. I'm part of a task force dedicated to catching those who travel the multiverse with no regard or care for what they do or who they might affect.
Aeon said. I don't know if that's Aeon or Eon, but it's A-E-O-N.
Let's do a bit of a Google, shall we? Nope, can't do that.
Do the one character that combines A and E.
It says Eon, but I don't like that.
Okay, it's Aeon.
Aeon. Can't you just lead us home? This doesn't need to come to anything as drastic as death.
Sunset said. Aeon sighed.
No, I'm afraid that isn't possible. Now, enough stalling. Come quietly, or I will force you to come with me.
Sunset, let's just go with her. We don't have much of a choice.
Twilight said, grasping at the talisman which was laying on the table.
No,
Sunset said angrily.
We've been through too much to let this person take us and kill us. I won't let her. Then you are a fool,
Aeon said as she raised her hand. A blast of red energy shot forth from her hand and slammed into Sunset, sending her into the wall at the far end of the diner.
That's how Sunset fucking dies in this story.
Oh my god, imagine. Twilight just has to replicate her with one of the other multiverses.
One of the few deaths in a comedy story that we've done that would actually be serious.
Yeah, that one would actually be devastating. Oh, imagine you're the author who has to write that.
Oh, my goodness.
You're the one who has the most hate on their chapter.
Oh, that would suck.
Sunset!
Twilight exclaimed, standing up out of the booth and running to her.
Are you okay?
Sunset managed to get up to one knee and glared at Aeon.
Peachy! Oh! She isn't taking us, Twilight. I won't let her. Is the talisman ready?
Twilight nodded.
Yeah, it's ready to go.
Good. Be ready to use it when I say.
Sunset said. When Twilight nodded in acknowledgement, Sunset got to her feet and dashed forward at Aeon. Aeon laughed as she easily sidestepped Sunset's charge and followed up with another blast of red energy. Now she turned her attention to Twilight and began walking toward her.
Fuck, not again.
Oh god.
Give me your device and come with me. No one else needs to get hurt. Hey, you can't hurt our friends like that,
Rainbow said, lobbing a syrup-coated pancake at Aeon.
Love it, Rainbow.
She's going to be the one to take him down with pancakes.
Hell yeah.
Aeon whipped around as she felt the pancake smack sloppily against her back.
Your insolence is unacceptable. However, my dealings are not with you two. You will wait outside,
she said as she raised a hand and blasted both Rainbow and Applejack through the diner window.
Okay, those two are definitely dead.
They have to be.
If they are, damn, that just kind of sucks. Casualties like that? Wow.
Yeah, they're just technically only side characters from this one universe in this chapter, but really, think about it.
And what the fuck did Applejack do?
Yeah.
Now, Twilight.
Sunset called. Twilight activated the talisman, and a portal opened up behind Aeon. Aeon turned her attention back to Twilight.
What are you doing? Do you think to escape me? I'll find you. Shut up and leave us alone.
Sunset called, pushing Aeon through the portal, which promptly closed. Twilight looked up at Sunset.
I'm not sure how that's going to help us. If she can travel the multiverse without getting lost, she'll find us again. I'm not even sure if we can leave here now. The TPT may be out of energy again.
Sunset held her hand out for Twilight, who took it and was pulled to her feet.
It doesn't matter. If she has anything similar, we'll at least have a chance to leave the diner. Now let's go check on AJ and Rainbow. I hope they aren't hurt. Oh, God.
Oh, no. Oh, this is even worse than what happened in the last fic we read.
Go listen to the last fic we read. It's a depressing ride.
As the two ran outside, they saw Rainbow Dash helping Applejack to her feet. Both had a few minor cuts, but otherwise they seemed to be okay. What incarnation was that? Y'all did tell us about some super-powered multiverse cop, Applejack said, pulling a piece of glass out of her hair.
We haven't run into her before, and something tells me it won't be the last time we do. Are you guys okay? I mean, she did throw you both through a window.
Rainbow and Applejack exchanged a glance.
We've done worse,
Rainbow said with a snigger.
Well, Twilight and I might...
Sunset was cut off by a sobbing sound from behind her. When she turned around, she saw Twilight kneeling on the ground.
Twilight?
This is all my fault. Aeon was right to want to take us back with her. What would have happened in this world if AJ and Rainbow had been killed when she pushed them through the window? What if we aren't just affecting alternate realities, but the time streams in those realities as well?
Twilight said, rambling somewhat. Sunset pulled Twilight to her feet and placed a hand on her cheek.
We're going to find a way back home. If it takes us altering a few timelines, so what? I'm not letting Aeon take us when she finds us again.
Twilight wasn't very comforted by that, but she managed to force a smile.
Okay. Then I guess we should start planning for what to do when Aeon inevitably shows up again.
Twilight looked at the talisman now and tried activating it. When the portal didn't open up, she sighed.
We're stuck here until it recharges. Let's hope Aeon doesn't show up before it recharges.
And that is the chapter KalenNighteyes.
Good job, KalenNighteyes. Very interested to see where this is going.
Right?
We'll read that in a second, but quick thoughts. Do we think Aeon is like someone uber important that we should be theorizing on?
I was kind of thinking maybe Aeon is Fizzlepop Berry Twist, but that's sort of like wishful thinking.
No, I don't think she's Fizzlepop Berry Twist, but what I do think is that maybe she's like connected to Twilight and Sunset somehow. Like, what if she's both of them fused together? Or like their daughter from an alternate timeline?
Ooh!
Just some food for thought.
Definitely gonna be a bigger character later, that's for sure.
Certainly.
But now to chapter 14, Idsertian.
I'm pretty sure it's Idsertian.
Oh, that makes more sense. It was a hope that proved to be in vain. No sooner had Twilight uttered the words than another portal opened up mere feet away from the group, depositing a rather annoyed-looking Aeon.
Absolutely unacceptable,
she bellowed, her icy glare directed squarely at Sunset and Twilight. She raised her hand again, a threatening red glow enveloping it down to the wrist.
Whilst my superiors would prefer for me to take you two back with me, I have no compunction over meting out your punishment where I stand. Make your choice.
The scene had garnered a lot of attention, and the crowd that had gathered started to murmur. The soft whine of whatever it was that powered the field enveloping Aeon's hand was the only other sound to reach Twilight's ears, reminding her of the magical fields surrounding Unicorn's horns back in Equestria. Her hand reached up and clutched the TPT. If only there was some way to manipulate the natural magical fields into charging the device faster, they could escape this madwoman and get one step closer to home, maybe even lose her. Twilight spared a glance down at the talisman, tilting it up to face her. A sudden surge would work. A magical beam attack, or a bolt, A bolt! That's it! Twilight's heart thumped in her chest as she leaned in and whispered to Sunset.
I think I can get us out of here, but we need to get her to shoot that bolt attack at me again.
Sunset's head whirled around.
Are you crazy?
She whispered back, harshly.
You could get hurt, or worse.
I think her bolts are charged by magic,
Twilight explained, still whispering.
If so, I might be able to use one to charge the TPT.
Sunset gave the little box in Twilight's hand an appraising look.
You really think the talisman can stand up to that?
Would you rather go with her?
Twilight countered.
Not really.
Then let's do this.
Sunset nodded and turned back to face Aeon. Twilight felt a sudden surge of confidence, completely antithetical to her breakdown of a few moments ago. She didn't know where it came from, but she suddenly felt sure that she could do this, especially with Sunset and her two friends at her side. She looked over at Rainbow and Applejack, who were casting their own, slightly nervous, glances between Aeon and a pair of interdimensional friends. What's the plan, Sugar Cube? Applejack called out. Before Twilight could answer, Aeon's voice barked down the street at them.
There is no plan. You two will come with me and face your fate with dignity, or you will die in the streets right here.
Hey!
Rainbow Dash yelled back.
You can't talk to them like that.
Stay out of this, girl, or do I have to throw you through another window to cool you off?
Rainbow made to charge down the street at Aeon, but was held back by an orange-skinned arm around her waist. Whoa there, Deli. Sunset and Twilight walked past the struggling duo, drawn closer to Aeon. As they did so, Sunset said over her shoulder,
You two just stay back. There's no sense in either of you getting hurt any further.
Rainbow ceased her fruitless efforts in escaping her lover's grasp, her jaw slack in surprise.
Huh? But, you can't...
She sputtered. I think we just gotta let them handle this themselves, Rainbow, Applejack said, watching the two girls line up in front of the older woman. I don't think this is our fight.
But they're our friends.
And sometimes you gotta let your friends work out their problems by themselves. Even if that problem threw you through a window first. Rainbow grumbled but relented, relaxing enough that... Nice grumbling. Relaxing enough that Applejack released her. Twilight turned her attention from her friends to fully focus on Aeon. The woman still had her hand raised, the red glow reflecting off of her glasses. Her expression was one of tightly controlled rage, her lips pursed and her eyes narrow.
Follow my lead and be ready,
Sunset said to Twilight, apparently standing up from a crouch. A slight turn of the head was the only indication she was talking to the equestrian princess. Twilight watched as the other girl stepped forward between her and Aeon.
You don't have to do this, Aeon.
Sunset called out, addressing the older woman by name.
We just want to go home. We're not trying to cause any trouble.
Well, too bad,
came the angry response.
You've broken countless interdimensional laws, not to mention assaulted an officer of the Accord. You will answer for your actions.
We've never even heard of this Accord.
She's got a point. How do you expect them to follow the rules if you won't let them know them?
They assaulted someone? What did I forget?
But that person attacked them first. Something about these interdimensional laws really makes me feel a bit, anti-authority.
Typical.
Sunset shouted back.
How can we obey laws we've never even heard of?
Ignorance is no excuse. Submit or be executed where you stand. This is your final warning.
Is there really no other way?
Sunset said, her voice shaky but her
wait, hold on. Is there really no other way?
There we go. Got it.
Sunset asked, her voice shaky but her stance firm.
No.
Aeon practically spat the word.
Peh. No.
Fine.
The sudden resoluteness in Sunset's voice caught Twilight's attention, but she had no time to think about it as the other girl quickly cocked back her arm and threw something. Twilight caught a brief glint of light as a piece of glass hurled through the air before Aeon suddenly stumbled back, a shout of pain escaping her mouth and her free hand grasping her face. When the woman straightened up again, she removed her hand and stared at it in shock briefly, before her expression turned to one of pure, incandescent fury. A streak of blood ran down her cheek, already reaching her neck and soaking into her collar.
You little witch.
The intensity of the field around her hand surged, the color becoming richer and the glow brighter.
Die!
The red bolt leapt from Aeon's hand. As it did, Sunset ducked.
Now, Twilight!
Twilight quickly darted in front of Sunset, straight into the path of the oncoming bolt, thrusting the talisman out in front of her as she did so. As the bolt made contact, Twilight winced, but felt nothing but a small vibration in her hand as the little box took the full brunt of the blast and stored the energy. Turning the device over in her hands, she saw the ready indicator was lit. It had worked!
Wait, what?
Aeon spluttered incredulously.
Incredulously? What, was this written by Esau?
Oh! Nah, that's the other chapter fic.
We'll get to that next time. What did you do?
Without answering, Twilight pushed the button on the talisman. A portal opened in front of the smashed window of the diner, but immediately Twilight could tell something was wrong. The other portals had all looked the same, with clearly defined edges and a solid look to them. This one was different. It looked unstable, swirling with crackling edges that flickered like the flames of a log fire. Twilight didn't have the time to reflect on this, however, as another shout from Aeon drew her attention.
Stop, now!
Another bolt careened towards Twilight, missing her by mere inches. She felt someone grab her hand and looked over to see Sunset. Just as the other girl began dragging her towards the portal, Applejack and Rainbow Dash flashed past the pair, charging at Aeon. Go! We got her! The farm girl yelled as they ran past. Twilight bumped into Sunset as she suddenly stopped in front of the portal, giving it a concerned look.
Is it safe?
Sunset asked.
I don't know, but we don't really have the time to find out,
Twilight replied, hurriedly. Sunset nodded. The pair jumped. The world turned to twisting colors and cacophonous sounds. Twilight was vaguely aware of her body shifting back into her more familiar alicorn form. Then her vision went black, and suddenly everything was pain. Welcome to I Fluttershy or Autumn Without End.
Oh, that would be wild. They went to there.
Especially because that one's gone from the site now.
Yeah.
The portal spat them out into immense heat, the very air seeming to sear Twilight's throat and lungs. burning her inside as it did outside. Underneath was a rough stone platform. Above, an orange, smoky sky rolling with fire. Through tears of pain, Twilight could just make out the forms of impossibly tall mountains everywhere, sharp and jagged against the angry sky. Coughing furiously against the foul and scorching air, she looked up as she felt something approach. Something big. It was huge. Bigger than huge. Much bigger than any creature had any right to be. Hey, any creature has any right to be any size they want, okay?
Yeah, don't be rude.
Preach. Something, possibly horns, stuck out of the side of its head and curved downwards. It stood silhouetted against the unnatural sky, its features hidden but clearly looking at her and her companion. And then the creature spoke.
Twilight sparkle and sunset shimmer.
Its voice was surprisingly cultured, if somewhat booming.
You two aren't supposed to be here.
The creature abruptly turned to smoke, swirling down to assume the form of a tall, dark and handsome male unicorn.
Well,
is this...
Hello.
What's his name? Prince Umbra?
King Sombra.
King Som...
If I had to guess.
Oh my god, how did I, get that so weird?
Prince Umbra, though, that sounds familiar.
Prince Blueblood.
No.
Kind of
Like,
shipping with King
legitimately
Sombra.
those words in that order. Prince Umbra.
The Dark Prince from Puyo Puyo Tetris.
I don't know why that sounds so familiar. Oh well.
His eyes glowing a deep crimson. That sounds like King Sombra to me.
Yeah, if I had to guess, this was probably King Sombra.
Aw, yeah.
Tell me,
The unicorn continued smoothly, walking slowly towards Twilight.
what brings you two to hell?
Oh, man.
Of course, it might not be Sombra. It does sound like him, though. Not the voice, but the description.
The voice was pretty close. Not having seen him, I'm pretty sure his does sound like a carnival announcer.
I was going for Bane from The Dark Knight Rises, but that's good, too.
I heard the muffled part that you were doing, and it reminded me of, the sound of a phone call.
I could see why.
So now we get to Chapter 15. Ratedoni. Ratedoni?
Ratedoni.
Sounds like the name. The eyes. It was the eyes that kept both ponies rooted to the floor. They both felt pain and their vision get darker until they both realized that they were holding their breath due to fear. It was a sensation that both had felt many times in the past, but never in a dose like this, and it was one more thing to add to their little adventure across worlds. The eyes were old. Older than Princess Celestia's eyes whenever she showed her wisdom and experience. They showed wisdom, but more than anything they were hard and cold, almost like a steel sword that pierced both ponies where they stood.
It also might just be Satan.
Oh, I wonder. Or what about T-Rex?
Nah.
Ah.
They described him as a unicorn.
Oh, that's right. Wait, did they say that there were horns on the sides of the head as well?
Let me check. Maybe it's T-Rex and Sombra combined.
The son of T-Rex and Sombra.
Oh, I ship it.
Right? Like evil loves evil.
Curve downward. You know what? I don't know. Yeah, guess we'll see.
We were, I mean...
The vision of such creature made Twilight Sparkle stutter with no... Was that?
Just say, no, I'm dumb. You're going to figure it out.
Oh. The vision of such creature made Twilight Sparkle stutter with no control after seeing the creature disappear and reappear in a cloud of black smoke. Almost like...
Wait, King Sombra?
At the mention of the name, the unicorn smiled. It was a small little sad one, as if he had remembered something.
I haven't heard that name in such a long time. It sounds weird on the mouth of a pony one more time.
He said, turning his sight to both ponies in front of him.
But I asked you something. What are Sunset Shimmer and Twilight Sparkle doing here? On this barren world devoid of life?
The unicorn showed such degree of eloquence and intelligence that it made it possible for both Unicorn and Alicorn to separate this Sombra to the one Twilight had fought back home.
We are lost.
The princess said as Sombra's eyes noticed the talisman around Twilight's neck, and he began to laugh, the volume ringing and echoing among the tall, sharp stone spires that were once mountains and hills.
Once more you find your way upon my world. It is truly remarkable. Even with an unlimited number of universes, you both find your way back to my doomed kingdom. Well, maybe not the same pair, but ones that look and even act like you. How truly remarkable.
Sombra said. Sunset began to cough as the air made her throat burn, as if the only thing she was breathing was ash.
Yeah, that's interesting. Sombra, I made him sound like Bane, and also his name is Spanish. And I'm pretty sure Bane is Mexican in the comics, not in the Dark Knight Rises, but whatever.
But he speaks Spanish, right?
I would imagine he seems very intelligent in that film.
Ah, yes, I do forget you mortals need oxygen to breathe. You'll forgive me for not being able to help you in that regard,
the unicorn said, looking at the eternal pyres burning in the distance while ash floated down like every day.
What happened here? Is this Tartarus?
Oh, hell no. We already did that one,
the redhead said, recovering from her coughing fit.
Tartarus? Oh no, this is no Tartarus. That place would be better than this, or maybe that's what this world turned into. No, Twilight Sparkle, this is my home, my kingdom. Welcome both to Equestria, or what is left of it,
he said. With a grand gesture of his hoof, he pointed at a spire not too far away. The two voyagers looked on in the direction he pointed, and their mouths fell in fear and shock. They both had seen the tower. They had even spent most of their youth inside, watching the stars and talking with the alicorn that shaped the ponies they would be in the future.
It can't be.
I'm afraid, Twilight Sparkle, that it can. Welcome to what is left of Equestria,
Sombra said with what could pass for laughter, but there was no mirth in his tone, only sadness and hollowness.
How did this happen?
Not your dimension, and you still worry about the world around you. It was long ago each and every one of Equestria's enemies joined in an attack against Celestia and her ponies. Let's just say that things went downhill way too fast. So fast that no pony could stop the cascade effect of the war's weapons and spells.
Sombra watched the pyres, his mind going back into the
This
dark.
is what happened after the Everash project.
How did Sombra survive the Everash project, though? That's the real question.
Very carefully. He survived death before, so, you know.
Dang. We haven't really done any stories that mention him that much.
Yeah, unfortunately not. But he's a really cool villain, and I think it would make for a great episode at some point.
Wasn't he kind of like the first major villain?
No. The first major villain was Nightmare Moon. He was like the fourth.
I mean, like, the season's villain, I thought he was.
Nope.
Really?
There was Nightmare Moon, and then there was Discord, and then there was Chrysalis, and then there was Sombra.
Oh, so he wasn't even there until, like, season 3 or something?
Yeah.
Wow. That's so weird, because I remember talking about him with you back when you were, like, first talking about My Little Pony.
Yeah, it was the season 3 premiere.
Okay. Really, Chrysalis was before him. Dang.
Yep.
Sombra watched the pyres, his mind going back into the dark days when everything collapsed.
Seems that being an Umbra makes you immune to the changes in the world. Now, here I am, the only survivor of the last great Equestrian War, forever doomed to walk this fitted land,
he said. Sunset couldn't contain her anger and was ready to pounce upon the dark unicorn, but the magic aura of twilight stopped her in midair.
Have I ever told you about how, about King Sombra's origin in the comics?
No.
It's depressing.
Wow. What happened to King Sombra?
Oh man, he's just a little baby Umbrum pony, and he's so cute. And he makes this friend, I can't remember her name, it was something like, friend person, and oh, they're so cute together, and they have a little romance, you know, a little blooming romance and stuff. And every year there's this thing called the Crystal Party, whatever, I can't remember what it's called right now.
The Crystal Cotillion.
Yes. No.
That would have been better.
Sure. Each year, for some reason, he can't go to it because he gets this splitting just hurt in him. He keeps on hurting so much, and he can't move whenever this festival is happening.
Like physical pain or emotional?
Physical. And I would assume emotional a bit.
Yeah.
And eventually, he learns that it's his destiny to become evil, and he doesn't want that.
Oh.
But it keeps getting worse and worse for him. And eventually, he does just become evil and tries to take over the Crystal Empire, and Celestia and Luna stop him. And this is like skipping through a lot of stuff. Like, the comic is really good. And then, well, in the future, the main six blow him up twice.
Man.
Yeah, he's the only villain to die in this show.
And he's the one who deserves it the least.
I mean, he did enslave a bunch of people for a while.
Oh.
He's probably the most evil of them, but he does have the saddest backstory.
The most evil?
I would say so.
Even more evil than Discord?
Yeah. Discord, while evil, he's not the most evil.
Yeah,
and at the very least, he does have a redemption arc. I'll tell you who doesn't. Sombra.
Oh.
Of course, that was in the comics, which aren't really canon, although I do consider this comic canon. Because why not? It just happened years ago, and the show hadn't really said that it didn't happen, so sure.
Plus, he sounds like he deserves a backstory like that, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Give him one in the show, you're gonna give him one in the comic.
It's like, wow.
What about frickin' the devil, though?
Tyrek?
Tyrek. Is he not more evil?
He could be more evil. He certainly shows more signs of, like, sympathy than Sombra, I would say, does. But at the very least, we could show that we see that Tyrek is able to get along with people enough to take down his enemies, and Sombra just wants to rule the world and everyone.
Oh. Wait, so Tyrek does good things?
No.
Oh.
But he can work with people.
Well, didn't Sombra have a huge army?
Yes. At one point.
Were they all just enslaved?
Yes. They were all basically zombie ponies.
Jeez. Yeah, I guess maybe he is just impossible. Impossibly evil.
He's fucked up. He's based off of Lord Sauron from Lord of the Rings, and I'm not going to say whether who's better or not, but I would say that Sombra gets a bit more of a personality, whether or not it's a good one. Oh, that's up to y'all to decide.
Sauron's cool, but he's definitely not much of a character. He feels more like a natural disaster than a villain.
You know what? That's a good comparison. Kind of like Godzilla.
Yeah.
In that one Godzilla film, Shin Godzilla. In the other Godzilla films, Godzilla's metaphor for human destruction. So anyways, I just told you that to pad out the episode.
Perfect. Now we're actually going to make it to 1,000 words.
Booyah.
Oh, by the way, what's an Umbrum?
Oh yeah, that was, they're just kind of these evil ponies, I guess, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay. And they can turn into shadows?
Either yes or only Sombra can. Let me see here if this... Okay, yeah, it is. He's an Umbrum. They're also known as shadow ponies, which makes sense considering the name. Creatures of monstrous appearance, Umbrum are beings of pure evil who wish to do nothing but manipulate others and conquer foreign kingdoms.
Oh, man.
So that would explain it.
Oh, yeah, I get to be a pony in a magical world. Oh, man, I'm an Umbrum.
Oh, yeah, and in the comics, which are a bit more canon to the King Sombra backstory, I guess, King Sombra does get redeemed. That's a thing that happens. So...
But yeah, he also
continuity,
dies?
He did die, and then, what's-her-name, his friend brought him back to life, and he gets redeemed somehow. I can't remember how.
Oh, I thought you said he actually, fully dies.
In the show.
Oh, so he gets revived in the comics?
Yep.
Dang, I didn't realize
he also gets revived in the show, but then he dies again.
Yeah. I didn't realize the comics really changed that much about this show.
They basically were technically considered canon until the show didn't consider them canon. So... Yeah.
I guess that's the issue with making new lore in the comics while the show is still running.
Yeah, it's not a good idea. That's why. But they are IDW comics, so most of them are pretty good, honestly, all things considered.
Nice.
IDW knows how to turn a pre-existing property and make it its own thing. And I mean, some IDW comics are pure shit, but you know. That just happens. Okay, let's continue now. I believe that was about 10 minutes of us rambling.
Wow.
Quite brave, Sunset. Sadly, nothing you could do would be able to hurt me. Believe me, if you could cease my existence, I would be grateful. But alas, this is my penance. This is my own hell. Enough of me. Why are you two in this world? And why do you look so roughed up?
Good question.
Someone is hunting us down. Apparently, we broke someone's rules on multiversal travel, and we were sentenced to death.
Twilight said as she still tried to process the hellish look of Equestria. Sombra snorted at the words.
Oh, those ponies. People. Never quite got what exactly they were. I was too busy dealing with them. Oh, don't look at me that way. Of course I know about those idiots.
Sombra said just as another gate was opened not too far away from them. From it came another pony. Even though she had become a unicorn, the uniform and the completely mad look on her face signaled only one possibility about the pony's identity.
Oh, who is this?
Well, if I had to guess.
Enough. Not only have you been doing whatever you want with your device, you attacked an officer, resisted arrest, and violated multiple laws. You will cease this moment and will receive punishment as the law dictates.
Ah, yes, all according to the laws and power of a bunch of little fillies and colts gave to themselves. So childish and immature, we found out we could travel, so instead of resisting, it will become the ultimate private club. Or at least that's what I understood. The last time you and your friends tried to judge me, what was it? Oh yes, a danger to the multiverse, one that had to be disposed of.
Yo. After becoming a big ol' Sombra fan, he gets to have his redemption arc in this very fic. As Sombra continued talking, Aeon's face, which had only shown confidence and anger, now showed fear and terror.
You are Sombra of World 78/Sigma/4?
Aeon said as she raised her foreleg, ready to fire her energy blast at Sombra. He's a Sigma. A Sigma male Sombra. Sorry, that's just the word Sigma.
Well, that is new. The last time I saw you, your friends only screamed my name as they tried to kill me. Pity I never get good visitors. If it helps you, I can show you their mass grave. I made it just for them.
Aww, he's so helpful. As he spoke, Aeon tried to shoot him. Instead of a red energy line, nothing came out this time. Sombra, for the first time since Twilight and Sunset arrived, showed a smile that sent shivers down their spines.
Oh yes, did I forget to tell you? Most devices don't work in this world. A lost gift left behind by Cantalot ponies. With this, dark energy chains... That's not my line.
I'm just gonna let you keep going.
My bad.
If ever anyone forgets to put a end quote, that would be hilarious. Just keep continuing like that. With this, dark energy chains erupted from the ground and coiled around the body of Aeon. As the chains began to tighten around Aeon, a voice pierced the sounds of pain and enchanted metal.
Stop!
Twilight screamed, not knowing exactly why she wanted to help Aeon.
Because you're a good person, Twilight Pony Twilight.
Thank you. Just call her Twilight Pony Twilight.
No.
Oh, I see what you were saying. She's a good pony.
Yes. Not a person. You'll never be a person, Twilight. Not really.
You'll just become a purple Equestria girl.
That's all you'll ever be.
So I guess we're really ending on a cliffhanger this time.
Yep. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That was chapter 15 by ratedoni, and we just read chapters 13 through 15 of Sunlight Sliders by Amber Spark and several co-authors. Whew. Looks like it's ramping up, ladies and gentlemen. I am interested to see where this goes and excited that I get to do more of Aeon and Sombra.
Yeah. Oh man, the Aeon voice is so good. I'm really glad that you're doing that for one of the main characters.
Thank you. Yeah, main antagonists. Maybe. We don't really know if they're a main character yet.
This is like the first time we've had like an antagonist in a story, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird, dude.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, there was no freaking no shipping in this one. Like Twilight and Sunset didn't like do any kissing or flirting.
Yeah, and fuck.
3 chapters and they did not have the sex.
It's weird. Yeah, I'm on the edge of my seat.
I bet we're gonna get some nice romance scenes in the next one.
Perhaps, or well, we'll finally figure out the fuck is up with Jigsaw's personality. What the fuck is up with Jigsaw right now? I assume
I
by
meant the next
one
Sunlight
you mean
Sliders.
Well, okay, maybe that too. But next time, I was actually going to use that to lead into what we're going to do next time. Because we know what we're going to do next time. Next time we're going to read more Celestia Code. You guys should catch up on that before diving into that. Just saying, it's a great story, that one. As good as this one? Quite possibly.
Better?
Maybe. We don't know exactly.
Gonna have to finish them to figure that out.
We'll see. And yes, the next group of Sunlight Sliders, that's like 10 episodes away, dude. We might try less than 10 episodes. Halloween and Christmas is coming up soon, not to mention the 100th episode, so we might like squish some stuff together. But yeah, excited for the next one. Hopefully we'll get more romance.
Yeah.
But we shall see.
Farewell to our beautiful viewers on this, a wonderful starlit night, underneath the cheese-colored moon. Bye!
How does David Bowie sound?
I think he sounds a bit like this. No, I never actually hear him talking. I mainly just hear him singing.
Twilight Sparkle and Sunset Shimmer. I went to her, not David
so
Bowie
good.
there, then.
I bet they're centaurs.
Maybe.
That'd be so cool. That's something that I wish was actually more in My Little Pony, you know?
Yeah.
The worlds combined.
There is T-Rex.
Oh yeah, good point. And his dad.
Oh yeah.
Somber said, just as
Wait, T-Rex
another
might have
game.
been adopted. Hold on, let me look up T-Rex dad from the My Little Pony comics. He might not even exist. I know he has a brother though.
Oh, is that a brother?
Yeah, he does have one.
Remember there's like the old goat-looking dude who I thought was like his dad, but I guess he wasn't.
Oh, this might be his dad. Also, I think you're talking about what's his name? Grogar.
Possibly.
Both G1 villains.
Aw, yeah, classic.
Yeah, we do have his dad. Look at that. Also a centaur. Ha.
Nice.
Or maybe not his dad. I don't know. Maybe his grandpa.
All I know is I call him daddy all the time.
Whatever suits you, man.
Out of respect, why does everyone always take that to mean weird things, huh?
I don't know, man.